Right, hi guys. Welcome back to the next in my series about string grip or release. So the one we're looking at today in this video is the ubiquitous, possibly most well known of all the string grips or releases, and that's the Mediterranean. Now if you remember, each of the grips we've done so far have been an evolution of the original pinch grip. You know, pinch grip, thumb, index finger, evolution of the finger onto the string, next finger onto the string, and then coming back, thumb off. Right, so we're at that point now. Now the Mediterranean takes the two fingers and places them underneath the arrow in the same way. This time though, you will almost always have the arrow on top of the knock, almost always, and the fingers will come up and touch the knock. They won't touch the arrow. So as you draw, the arrow is held in place by the string. Now if you remember with the Slavic release, because you were shooting outside the bow, in order to prevent the arrow from swinging away, we used the index finger to place on top or on the side to push the arrow in towards the bow. Now though, what we're doing is we're placing that finger onto the string in the same alignment through the pads as the two bottom strings. We're not touching the arrow. Ideally, if there is any contact with the arrow at all, it's just very, very slight. So, we draw, and with the slightest little bit of pressure. Now there is a variation of that. You can actually do 3 below. And if you want to, there's absolutely no reason why you can actually not touch the arrow at all with the Mediterranean. Not touch the arrow at all, but it can be quite useful, especially if you've got a loose knock. But generally speaking, 2 below, 1 above, and we're drawing back. It's all about just keeping the arrow in place on the knock with minimum contact on the arrow. This is why when you watch target shooters, they all have tabs. They always use tabs, and there's a split. They draw someone's called split finger between the tab, which for the arrow to sit in, because you don't want to touch the arrow at all if you can help it, but with minimum contact. In the ideal world, minimum contact. Anyway, so 2 below, not touching the arrow, 1 above, light contact at most with the arrow, just to keep it located on the knock. And as you draw back, the fingers don't move. They tend to try not to move them at all. If there's a little bit of string pinch, just allow the finger to be pushed forward out of the way. After all that top finger is doing is making sure the arrow doesn't slide up the string. And the bottom fingers are the ones that are doing all the work, and they are not touching the string at all. The mistake a lot of people make is they pinch, and they're using 2 fingers below right up against the arrow to the point where it's almost pushing it up, and then 1 finger on top to push it down. So you're basically nipping the arrow. That's the wrong thing to do. Go up to the knock, don't touch the arrow, just rest the top finger on the arrow with just enough pressure to keep it in place, so that when you draw, the arrow doesn't move. That's all it's there for. Anyway, there we go. There's the Mediterranean grip, or sometimes called split finger. 2 below, 1 above, sometimes 3 below, 1 above. And the only real variations you'll get on that is if you start doing things like string walking, which is a bare bow technique, which we'll talk about at some other date. But there we go. Split finger, Mediterranean, 2 below, 1 above. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. Hope you found it useful. Next time we'll talk about thumb release, which should be fun. Not my favourite, but we shall talk about it. Alright, cheers guys. Thanks a lot.